Alright, you guys, we have another week in another flipped classroom video. Today we have the rhetorical appeals and propaganda. Just like every week we have a flipped classroom video, I would like to remind you to take notes because there will be a test at the beginning of the period on Monday on your Chromebooks. The better the notes you have, the better you tend to do on those tests. Along with that, I would like to remind you guys that if I go faster than you guys can write in this video, you can always pause and take the notes as slowly as you need. Now let's jump into it. Rhetorical appeals. What are they? They're persuasive strategies known as ethos, logos, and pathos. They are typically used in arguments to support claims and respond to opposing arguments. A good argument will generally use a combination of all three of these appeals to make its case, which is known as the rhetorical triangle. Logos appeals to reasons and logic. In other words, it's the facts, statistics, and truth behind the argument. There's inductive reasoning and deductive reasoning when it comes to this. And inductive reasoning, it takes a specific representative case or fact and then draws generalizations, while deductive reasoning begins with the generalizations and then applies it to a specific case. Ethos is the ethical appeal. It's based on the character, credibility, or reliability of the writer. In a case, if you are arguing about Shakespeare, the English teacher will have more credibility or ethos than a doctor. Now, if you're arguing about something related to the medical field, the doctor will have more ethos or reliability and credibility than the English teacher. There's different ways to establish good character and credibility as an author. That is using reliable sources to build your argument and citing them properly, respecting both sides of the argument, and organizing your argument in a logical, easy-to-follow manner, and proofreading. Proofreading is always important, you guys. Now, pathos, the emotional appeal, the way you pull at those heartstrings. It appeals to the audience's needs, values, and emotional sensibilities. And although an argument typically emphasizes reason, there will always be room for emotion if you are using it or utilizing it well. That being said, make sure you are not using the pathos to distract from the real issues of the debate. And an argument should never use emotion to misrepresent a topic or frighten the people. Different emotional appeals can be sources such as interviews and individual stories. This is a graphic that simply lays out the definition and different examples of each rhetorical appeal. I would recommend you guys write this information down. Now, propaganda. Here is the actual definition of propaganda, but to simplify it for you, I would like to say it is a visual that an individual creates to persuade an audience to believe in what they believe. We know that it was used in World War II and in the 19th century to further various agendas by politicians, opposing candidates, and special interest groups. I would like to remind you guys that it is used to highlight the negatives and positives of an idea, and maybe not at the same time, but it does represent both sides, not just one. How is it related to the rhetorical appeals? Well, propaganda relies heavily on ethos and pathos, and although it does not rely so much on logos, it is important that the propagandist or the one creating the propaganda understands the logos to make sure that they are not veering off way when they are creating their propaganda. There are different characteristics of propaganda, which includes appealing to emotions, and having the information value laden, utilizing selective information, and not having it be balanced. And the intentions or motives matter in propaganda. For this example of propaganda, I would like you guys to write down on your notes the different ways you see ethos, logos, and pathos. We will be discussing this in class with your test. And other than that, I would like you guys just to remember to review your notes because the test will be Monday morning and we will be starting our new unit that has to do with propaganda and the rhetorical appeals. Can't wait to see you guys on Monday. Have a great day.